In a small, dusty frontier town where life was harsh and judgment came as swiftly as the wind, she lived quietly, carrying a beauty so radiant it seemed almost unfair, a beauty that drew whispers, envy, and cruel stares from nearly everyone she met. From the market stalls to the church pews, people recoiled, not from her kindness, but from a charm and presence they could neither comprehend nor tolerate. Children would point and laugh, women would scowl and murmur under their breath, and men, unable to resist yet ashamed, would avert their eyes. She had learned to move through the world like a ghost, silent and careful, because any display of confidence was met with mockery or suspicion. Every step outside her humble home became a gauntlet of subtle torments, harsh words disguised as advice, scornful laughter behind closed doors, and public humiliation designed to make her small. Nights were worse, when the loneliness of her situation pressed down like the heavy, starless sky above, and she wondered if the world had been created to punish those who shine too brightly. One day, as the sun blazed over the parched earth and the town's usual cruelty was at its peak, she found herself cornered by a group of envious townsfolk, their sneers sharper than knives, their words aimed to wound her pride, to strip away the dignity that had somehow survived despite everything. Just as despair threatened to crush her completely, a rider appeared over the horizon, a man who looked out of place in his rugged, confident way, a rancher whose presence commanded respect, not through force or wealth, but through the quiet authority of someone who had learned to navigate the harshness of life with integrity and strength. He saw her suffering and, without a word, positioned himself between her and the cruel crowd, his eyes blazing with defiance at their malice. That single act of courage sparked something impossible yet undeniable in her heart, a flicker of hope, the realization that maybe, just maybe, not everyone wanted to see her fall. The townsfolk, unaccustomed to resistance, faltered, their anger unable to withstand the unspoken authority of the rancher's stance, and slowly, they dispersed, leaving behind an air of uneasy silence. From that day, she knew her life could change, not because her tormentors would vanish entirely, but because someone had dared to stand up for her, to recognize her worth when no one else would. And as the sun dipped low, painting the plains with gold and crimson, she felt the first taste of freedom seep into her weary soul, and she realized that true strength could come not from beauty or charm, but from those rare souls who refused to let injustice go unchallenged. And if viewers are watching this, know this, just as she found hope in someone who dared, you too can find strength in unexpected places, and don't forget to subscribe to witness how courage can change even the cruelest of worlds. The days that followed were no less challenging, but now, with the rancher by her side, she moved through the town with a quiet confidence that made even the cruelest whispers falter. He became more than a protector, he became a symbol of defiance against the relentless cruelty that had marked her life for so long. People who had once scorned her began to stare in disbelief as she walked past them, head held high, every step a testament to survival, resilience, and the subtle power of being unapologetically herself. The rancher, a man of few words but many actions, slowly taught her the ways of the land, the rhythms of the ranch, and the courage it took to tame not just wild horses, but a world that thrived on oppression and envy. Together, they faced dangers that extended far beyond petty townsfolk, harsh weather, wild animals, and the ever-present threat of lawlessness that came with frontier life. Yet, in every trial, he treated her as an equal, not an object of admiration or pity, and in doing so, he transformed the way she viewed herself. No longer did she shrink from her reflection or hide her beauty as if it were a curse, she embraced it, not arrogantly, but as a mark of her survival, proof that she could endure the scorn of a world too small to appreciate her light. Word of their courage and unbreakable bond spread through the town, softening even the hardest hearts and challenging the prejudices that had long gone unquestioned. But their greatest victory was internal, a triumph of spirit over fear, of dignity over humiliation, and of human connection over isolation. And for the viewers watching this unfold, remember, just like her journey from torment to empowerment, there are always people who will recognize your worth when no one else does, and every act of courage, no matter how small, can change the course of a life. If you want to witness more stories of defiance, resilience, and the unthinkable acts of heroism that redefine courage, hit that subscribe button now, because the frontier may be harsh, but the human spirit, as she learned, is fiercer than any storm. After that fateful day when the rancher had intervened, life began to shift in subtle but profound ways. The once cruel town now regarded her with a mix of curiosity and unease, as if her quiet confidence, bolstered by the rancher's unwavering protection, had unsettled the rigid rules of judgment they had long enforced. She moved through dusty streets with a steadiness she had never known, each step a quiet rebellion against the ridicule that had haunted her for years, and though whispers followed her, they no longer cut as deeply, for she had discovered a strength born not from arrogance, but from survival, from the knowledge that someone had seen her worth when everyone else had looked away. The rancher, a man whose life had been shaped by hardships few could endure, treated her not as a possession or a prize, but as a partner in facing the vast and unpredictable challenges of frontier life. He taught her to ride with the kind of skill that tamed even the most unruly horses, to track wild game through harsh terrain, and to read the signs of the land with patience and precision, lessons that mirrored a deeper truth, that courage was cultivated in the heart, and dignity was claimed through action. As they worked together on the sprawling ranch, tending to livestock, repairing fences, and enduring the relentless sun and wind, a bond formed, built on mutual respect, trust, and an unspoken understanding that they were no longer alone against the world. Yet, life on the frontier was never simple. Threats emerged from unexpected directions, a neighbor driven by envy, a wild stallion that refused to be broken, and the ever-present suspicion of townsfolk who resented any disruption to their routines and expectations. Each challenge, however, only revealed more of her inner strength and the profound impact of the rancher's guidance. Where she had once cowered in the face of ridicule, she now stood firm, ready to confront injustice with unwavering resolve, her beauty no longer a curse but a symbol of resilience, a beacon that could not be dimmed by malice. Slowly, the town began to change as well, not overnight, but through quiet observations of her determination and the silent, unshakable support of the rancher. Those who had mocked began to reconsider their own cruelty, some with shame, others with a grudging respect, recognizing that the world was far too complex to be ruled by envy and fear alone. And while the town watched her rise, she discovered the most important truth: the real battle had never been against the people who tormented her, but against the doubts and insecurities that had nearly consumed her spirit. With the rancher at her side, she was free to embrace her life fully, to walk with confidence, and to meet every challenge with grace, proving that strength was not the absence of fear, but the courage to face it. To everyone watching this story, remember that life will always present challenges, and people may judge or underestimate you for qualities that make you extraordinary, but there is always hope, and often someone willing to stand with you when the world seems against you. This is a story of triumph over cruelty, of unexpected alliances, and of discovering that true courage, and even love, often appears in the unlikeliest forms. So, if you want to witness more tales of resilience, bravery, and unthinkable acts that defy expectations, don't forget to subscribe now, because the frontier is vast, the stories are endless, and every act of heroism has the power to inspire lives far beyond its own.